Two resignation letters get written the same month, 10 years ago. Neither of you sends the one you're thinking about. One of you deletes the draft and shows up Monday like nothing happened. The other hits send before the fear catches up. Neither of you knows yet which decision was the brave one. Level 1, Month 1. Path A, the employee. You stay. The paycheck lands on the same day every 2 weeks, $2,900 after taxes, without you doing anything except showing up. You don't think about where it comes from. That's the entire point of the arrangement. Someone else thinks about that so you don't have to. You get a benefits packet in your onboarding folder. Health insurance, dental, a 401k match up to 4. You skim it once and file it away. You don't fully appreciate what it's worth yet. Nobody does at 24. Path B, the freelancer. You quit a stable job to go independent, and your first month brings in $1,100, less than half of what Path A makes, for more hours than Path A works. You don't have benefits. You don't have a match. You have a laptop, 3 small clients, and a bank account that empties faster than it fills. You invoice a client for $600. They pay 45 days late, after 2 follow-up emails you had to write carefully, professionally, without sounding like you're begging. This is a skill nobody puts on a resume. You have it anyway, because you had to learn it fast. The first rule of Month 1, the gap isn't about money yet. It's about who controls the calendar. Level 2, Year 2. Path A. You get a 3,000 raise during your annual review, delivered in a 15-minute meeting by a manager reading from a template. You say thank you. You mean it. The raise lands automatically in your paycheck 2 weeks later without you doing anything beyond showing up and being adequate. You take a 2-week vacation. It's paid. You don't think about the cost of not working during those 2 weeks, because there isn't one. The company absorbs it. This is a fact you don't fully register as valuable until much later. Path B. Your income by year 2 averages $3,200 a month, some months $5,000, some months $1,800. You've stopped predicting which kind of month is coming. You've started building a buffer instead, 3 months of expenses saved specifically to survive the unpredictable ones, a skill Path A has never had to develop because Path A has never needed it. You take a week off. Nobody pays you for it. You calculate the cost before you book it, roughly $1,400 in lost invoicing, and you take it anyway, because you've learned that not resting costs something too, even if it doesn't show up on an invoice. The second rule, Year 2, is where one of you starts trading certainty for a ceiling, and the other starts trading a ceiling for volatility. Level 3, Year 3. Path A. You get promoted. The new title comes with a $4,500 raise and slightly more responsibility, delivered through the same 15-minute review process, the same template, the same predictable rhythm you've come to rely on without noticing you're relying on it. You realize, almost in passing, that you haven't sent an invoice, negotiated a rate, or chased a late payment in 3 years. The system does that math for you. You've stopped noticing the system is even there, the way you stop noticing a ceiling once you've lived under it long enough. Path B. Your income crosses $6,000 in a strong month for the first time, more than double what Path A makes in the same month. You don't celebrate loudly. You know next month could be $2,200, and the averaging is the only number that actually matters, not the peaks. You raise your rates for the first time, from $45 an hour to $70. 2 clients leave immediately. 3 new ones arrive within a month, willing to pay the new number without negotiating. You learn something Path A will never learn directly. Your income is a decision you make, not a number someone hands you in a template. The third rule, Year 3, is where one path is optimizing inside a ceiling, and the other is testing whether the ceiling exists at all. Level 4, Year 4. Path A. Layoffs hit your department. 12 people, gone in one afternoon, notified by a mass email and a 15-minute call with HR. You survive this round. You don't celebrate. You just notice, for the first time clearly, that the security you've been relying on was never actually security, it was just a company's convenience that happened to include you, until the convenience changed. You update your resume that weekend for the first time in 4 years. You don't send it anywhere. You just needed to know it existed, current, ready, in case the convenience changes again. Path B. A major client, 40 of your monthly income, cancels their contract with 2 weeks' notice. You built a buffer for exactly this. You dip into it, replace the client within 6 weeks, and come out the other side with a lesson path A is only starting to learn. The volatility was always there. You just built the muscle to survive it earlier, because you had to. The fourth rule year 4 reveals that neither path was ever actually safe. One of you just found out later than the other. Level 5, Year 5. Path A. Your salary reaches 78,000. Your 401k, with the employer match compounding quietly in the background, crosses 31,000, money you never actively decided to invest each month, because the decision was made for you the day you enrolled and never touched it since. You take a sick day. It's paid. You don't calculate what it costs you, because it doesn't cost you anything directly. This fact, so small it barely registers, is one of the things Path B has been pricing into every single decision for 5 years straight. Path B. Your income averages $5,400 a month now, steadier than it used to be, though never guaranteed. You have no employer match. You've built your own retirement account manually, contributing $600 a month by hand, a decision you have to actively make and actively execute every single time, with no automatic system doing it quietly for you. You get sick for 4 days. Nobody pays you for them. You calculate the cost afterward, roughly $900 in lost invoicing, and you absorb it, the way you've absorbed every unpaid hour for 5 years, because the freedom that comes with the arrangement was never free. It was just billed differently. The fifth rule, Year 5, is where the real trade becomes visible. One of you is paying for security without noticing the price, and the other is paying for freedom without anyone else noticing it at all. Level 6, Year 6. Path A. You ask for a schedule adjustment, starting an hour later to handle a personal commitment. The request goes through 2 levels of approval and takes 11 days to resolve. You get the adjustment. You also get a clear, unspoken reminder of who actually controls your calendar, even on the good days. Path B. You take a Tuesday afternoon off with 0 approval process, because there's no one to approve it but you. You also work until midnight the following Thursday to make up for a deadline that doesn't care about your Tuesday afternoon. The freedom and the cost arrive in the same week, the same way they always have. You hire your first subcontractor, paying someone else $35 an hour to handle overflow work. This is the first moment your income stops being entirely tied to your own hours, a shift Path A's paycheck structure will never require or allow, because Path A's job was never designed to be handed to someone else. The sixth rule, Year 6, is where one of you gains a small measure of control by asking, and the other gains it by simply not needing to ask anyone at all. Level 7, Year 8. Path A. Your salary reaches 94,000. Your 401k, still growing quietly through the same automatic match you barely think about, crosses 68,000. You've had 4 managers in 8 years, 3 restructurings, 2 rounds of layoffs you survived. You're good at your job. You're also aware, in a way you weren't at 24, that being good at your job and being secure in your job are 2 entirely different things that only sometimes overlap. Path B. Your business, because that's what it is now, not a gig, a business, brings in $118,000 in gross revenue this year. After expenses, subcontractors, and taxes you now pay quarterly instead of automatically, you net roughly $81,000. You have 3 retainer clients providing a floor Path A would recognize as stability, built by hand instead of handed to you. You turn down a project worth $12,000 because the client's timeline would require working through a trip you already planned. Path A has never had to make this specific trade because Path A's employer decides which trips are possible long before Path A ever gets to choose. The 7th rule, Year 8, is where the ceiling and the floor finally reveal their shapes. One of you has a higher floor than expected, and the other has a lower ceiling than they were promised. Level 8, Year 10. Path A. Your salary sits at 101,000. Your 401k, entirely built through automatic contributions and an employer match you rarely think about, has crossed 94,000. You've never once negotiated your own rate, chased an invoice, or built a client relationship from nothing. You've also never once had to. The system did that math for you, 10 years running, and you're only now starting to wonder what it would have looked like if it hadn't. Path B. Your business nets $89,000 this year after all expenses, slightly less than Path A's salary for the first time in 3 years, because you deliberately took on fewer clients to build something new, a small course teaching what you've learned, which earned $14,000 passively in its first year without you trading a single additional hour for it. Path A's 401k grows the same way regardless of effort. Your course is the first asset you built that does the same thing, on a much smaller scale, entirely because you chose to build it. You compare notes over coffee, the way you have every year since the resignation letters. Path A's number is bigger this year. Path B's number came with something Path A has never once had to build for themselves, proof that the income doesn't require the same trade every single year, forever, without renegotiation. The 8th rule, 10 years in, neither ceiling nor floor was ever fixed. Both of you built exactly the trade you were willing to make, one Tuesday at a time, and neither of you can fully see the other's trade from the inside of your own. Somewhere right now, 2 people are drafting resignation letters in the same month. One of them will delete the draft and show up Monday. The other will hit send before the fear catches up. Neither decision is the brave one or the foolish one. Both of them are just the first Tuesday of 10 years neither person can fully picture yet, a decade of trades they haven't made, arriving one paycheck, one invoice, one ordinary Tuesday at a time.